Hello. What I want to talk to you today, I want to talk to you about menopause. God. Perimenopause and menopause, because honestly, they're two different phases, to be honest. But some of the biggest challenges, I just want to talk about some of the biggest challenges. There are plus points as well to menopause. And I think there's a really important element here that most people don't really consider. And one of those is that we spend an awful lot of time in resistance when we're in menopause. And also affirming all of the time. We seem to affirm how terrible it is and what's going on and how we can't sleep and how we just feel rubbish and the brain fog and the dryness and the this and the that, and we're constantly affirming how awful it is. And I did that. That's why I'm able to talk to you about it now. I did it, and I guarantee it just makes it worse. It actually prolongs it. And you get more of that, because what you talk about, you get more of. You know that. We know that. This whole field of self-help talks about that all of the time. What you think about becomes your life. Where attention goes, momentum grows. Like, we know that our thoughts and our attention create the next phase, the next thing that's going to happen in our lives. We're constantly constructing our lives with our thoughts and our attention. So it's just, when you really think about it, how stupid are we that we spend loads of time saying, oh my God, this is awful. Oh, I can't stand it. The hot sweats are killing me slowly. I just can't get any sleep. The sleep deprivation is serious, by the way. And I've got an immediate solution for that. Straight away, meditation, 100%. And I don't just mean, I mean proper meditation, immersive meditation, the type of meditation that's altering your frequency, that's actually changing you at a cellular level. So going on YouTube and playing a meditation and falling asleep, nice and relaxing, not meditating. That's the difference. Nice and relaxing to play a meditation to go to sleep to, but that's not meditating. If you really want your sleep to improve, immerse yourself properly in a meditation. I run 2 a month, feel free to try out one of those. I'll put the link in here on how you can get a ticket, and they're not expensive. They're £10.50 or something like that. Everybody that does them says they have the best sleep ever. For several nights in a row, they've had the best sleep ever. So it just goes to show that it can change you at a physiological level. So meditation is the number one thing you should be focusing on if you're not getting any sleep at night. And I wish that I'd known that back then, that was the key factor to sleep, because I lost out on so much sleep. So there are 2 things that I can help you with here. Number 1 is all the mistakes I made. But also I thank my menopause, because at the time I saw it as something horrendous, but actually, what if, it's called the change because we are changing. So what if we embrace that change? Like, now, I love that I'm postmenopausal. Like, I love it. I really do. I know it sounds crazy, but I absolutely do. Because it made me stop and it made me look inward. And if I hadn't done all of the personal development that I did throughout the last 13 years, if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't be here where I am now. I would never have done energy healing. I spent 10 years doing energy healing. It really helped people. It helped to change lives. And actually, all of the coaching that I did for those people afterwards also helped to change lives. So, don't knock menopause. It is a change. And if you think of indigenous tribes, the older lady, the lady that's been through the change, is the wise woman of the tribe. She's the one that everyone goes to. She's the one that everyone looks up to for advice and what to do next, because you do become more connected, much wiser. But you don't become that until you stop resisting the overall idea of change. So the universe has rhythm, the universe has a natural rhythm. You know this with tides, ebb and flow, tides coming in, tides going out. You know that the universe has a natural rhythm. You see it, there's evidence of it all through nature. So we know that the universe has a natural rhythm. We have a natural rhythm as women throughout our lives. And what what you shouldn't do is go against the universal rhythm. So you've heard the expression, what you resist persists. That expression comes from the universal law of rhythm. So if you're going through a difficult phase or something is changing, like you in menopause, the more you resist it, the longer it's going to go on. That feeling and those symptoms are going to persist longer the more you resist it. So when I say I keep affirming, like we kept affirming, I just kept affirming, this is horrendous, it's the worst thing that's ever happened, I can't stand it, I can't, honestly, I haven't worn a coat, an actual coat, for at least 12 years. I just can't wear a coat. So I get called poncho woman, poncho list. Everybody knows I love a poncho. And the reason for that is because you get airflow, and I can't stand my forearms being hot and sweaty. I can't bear it. So that in itself is something that I resisted for such a long time. Like, I just can't tell you. I resisted the whole hot flush thing for such a long time. Two things that got me over my hot flushes. Number one, I stopped resisting it. I just thought, okay, it's fine. It's just a flush. It's nothing. That immediately helped me out, if I'm honest with you. It didn't make them go away. The thing that made them really go away, the thing that made the biggest difference, was I discovered Dr. Elizabeth Bright. I've got to put a link to her book here somewhere. I'm not affiliated with her. I'm not recommending her book because she gives me anything. She doesn't. She doesn't even know who I am. I recommend her because she understands hormones really well. What you eat is really important when it comes to your physiology, and you are going through a physiological thing. You are going through a physiological change. How you deal with that psychologically, I can help with. How you deal with it physiologically, Dr. Elizabeth Bright can help you with. She has a book that's called Good Fats for Women in Menopause or something like that. I'll link it. I'll link it in the description of this particular video. The reason I want you to look at it is because it made all of the difference. It made all of the difference to how I was feeling. A lot of my symptoms, the dryness went away. You know, I stopped using HRT. So I did start using HRT at one point, and I got really bad melasma on my skin as well. You can probably still see it. Like here, there's a dark area here. I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, I got really bad melasma on my skin, which is where parts of your skin goes really, really dark compared to the rest of your skin. I don't wear makeup, so you can see my skin. All of this was really, really dark, and it just went away. It went away because the reason it got really dark is because my estrogen levels had gone up too much, and that was because I was using the HRT estrogen gel, as well as the estradiol or whatever you call it, cream. And when I got melasma and I found out that that's what was causing it, I thought, I've got to come off this HRT. I just stopped taking it. I just stopped taking it completely. And of course, all the symptoms come back when you stop taking it. And that's what drove me to look for a better solution. And Dr. Elizabeth Bright was that solution. Eating real food, basically, eating real food. Is the answer, and it actually works. And my melasma has improved massively. Like, I don't have those really, really dark, like all of that would have been really dark. So now there's a spot or two that you can see, but none of it's really, really dark the way it was then. So that's a massive improvement. What else do I want to tell you? Listen, there's a few things that you need to think about when you're going through menopause. Number one, we know that the workplace doesn't cater for menopausal women. It doesn't really cater for women overly well, particularly in the UK. I can only talk about the UK because this is where I live. But it definitely doesn't know how to deal with menopausal women. Another thing that can increase your stress factor is the fact that the workplace doesn't really support you. Again, I would say focus on how you react to other people's behaviour. Focus on whether that actually matters to you or not. It shouldn't matter to you, and it doesn't need to matter to you. So what I think is the most important thing for people to do when they're in menopause is embrace this new phase of your life, because you are going to come out of this much wiser, less hung up on nonsense that really isn't important. You're going to care a lot less about the shape of your eyebrows, you know, whether you've got grey hair or black hair. Like you just, all of that's not going to bother you because you're going to have enough to contend with the actual symptoms that you're experiencing. So instead of focusing on the fact that you don't look the same or your waist has got a bit bigger and all of that, I get it. I don't like it either. I totally get it. But I didn't deal with that very well personally. But I do know this. Focus on the things that are going to give you quick wins. Number one, meditation will help you sleep. If you've had good sleep, you're in a much better position to go about your day in a much more stable way, let's say. And plus you don't get that fuzzy headedness either. If you follow Dr. Elizabeth, but I had to give up sugar so that I didn't have that fuzzy head. Like I just couldn't even think of simple words. For me, sugar really impacts that. So even now, if I eat sugar, I can't do a video. I can't think of the words. Like the words just don't, stupid, simple words don't come to me. So I think that's another important thing to look at. Obviously, I don't give dietary advice because I'm not a dietitian. I can just tell you what I did though. You know, I can tell you what I do and what I did and what I found useful, and you can decide whether you want to implement that or not. But apart from the meditation, the other thing that you should really be looking at is how reactive you are. You know, society teaches us to be so reactive, so disconnected. We become so disconnected from our true power source. And there's never a better time to address a reconnection than when you're in menopause, because it's a time when you feel at your worst, but also there's something magical about it. There's something magical about that time, that period of change, that new level of wisdom that you're acquiring. And I don't mean that it's not intellectual. Wisdom isn't intellectual, by the way. It's downloaded from the universe. Wisdom is not an intellectual thing. It's a spiritual thing. And so, and I'm not talking about religion either. I don't do religion. It's a spiritual thing. We are mind, body and spirit. And you should always be looking after all three aspects of that. But if you're not, when you're in menopause, you really want to be doing it because it's definitely going to be helping you. And so your body is going to change. There's nothing you can do about that. You can't stop it and you can't change it. And you shouldn't want to. Like, you really shouldn't want to. I promise you that. When you first go into it, you think, oh my God, I can't bear it. I just want to get myself back. Because the biggest problem is that you lose yourself. That's the biggest problem. And in fact, for me, my biggest problem was that I went straight, like I plunged from being up here, super happy, everything wonderful. I plunged to the deepest depths of depression. So then I had that to contend with as well. And I've actually developed a course that will help you with that, because there's nothing more soul destroying than being in that state. So I do have a course for mental health. I have a mental health course, which I'll put the link into that as well. But so yeah, if you're suffering from mental health, address that first. Absolutely address that first. But I would do meditation as well, because that helps it. That helps you to recover more quickly. So I do have a mental health course. It's called Anxiety, Stress, Overwhelm and Depression, I think. I'll put a link to it down here. But also follow up on meditation. Meditation is key for you, absolutely key for you. I've lost my train of thought. Give me a minute. I'm going to come back to you in a second. I will chop this bit out, but I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, so the other thing is that the other thing you really want to focus on is your own personal vibrational frequency. What you give your attention to, how you react and how you act, what you think about, your thoughts, how you're feeling, how you're acting and how you're reacting. You know that we're so unaware of ourselves. We're nowhere near as aware of ourselves as we think we are. We're completely unaware of ourselves. And our belief systems determine 95% of our lives, because we're only aware of our thoughts. We're only conscious, having conscious thoughts 5% of the time. The other 95% of the time, we're in subconscious mode, autopilot mode. And that's fine while your life is swimming and you're really busy and you've got loads to do, and you'll have a good day and a bad day and you don't even need to be aware of it, and because we often go through life like that too. That's all well and good. But when you don't feel great, it's not okay. It's not fine anymore. And I think when you enter into menopause, you are changing quite a lot. You're not just physically changing, you're mentally changing, you're frequentially changing. Every part of you is changing, and it's supposed to do that. And instead of resisting it, I really suggest that you embrace it. Do everything you can on a physiological level. If you drink alcohol, stop doing it. Menopause and alcohol don't mix together. If you eat loads of sugar, stop doing it. You know, follow Elizabeth Bright's advice, Dr. Elizabeth Bright's advice with her work, or anyone else. Like if you don't like animal products, then don't follow her advice. I don't know any non-animal based. You know, it's really difficult to get good cholesterol, which is what you need in menopause if you're following a plant-only diet. So I can't advise you on that, but that I can just tell you what I did. And the other thing to address is your own personal vibrational frequency. How are you acting? How are you reacting? Because that's what determines your life anyway. That's what determines how your day's going to go. And so you need to get in touch with that. You need to understand what your frequency is at any given point in the day. 99% of people walking this earth don't understand it. They don't know what their frequency is. They think they're positive people. I get this all the time. All of the people that do my courses say, they start the course by saying, I'm not very judgmental and I'm quite upbeat. Yeah, I'm quite a positive person. I'm really upbeat. I wouldn't say that I'm very judgmental. 10 days into the course, they're like that. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm so judgmental. And I'm not as positive as I thought. I'm not in high frequency. I'm mostly in low frequency. And my frequency goes all over the place 100 times a day. Well, that's because you're reactive. And you're not aware of that. You're not aware of that because we're in autopilot 95% of the time. You have to become aware of it. You have to intentionally become self-aware. You have to do it on purpose as if your life depends on it. And that sounds really complicated and difficult, but it really isn't. It's really easy. I've devised a zone method to help you do it. In fact, there's a video on YouTube. I've got a video on YouTube. It's called Liz's Zone Method or My Zone Method. Go and watch it after this one if you want to understand a little bit more about that. But honestly, if you're in menopause and you're struggling because you feel like you've lost yourself, your body's doing all sorts of stuff that you don't like, you don't know how you're going to get out of this, you can't even think straight, like all of the typical symptoms that we go through, stop resisting. You mustn't resist them, because the more you resist, the longer it's going to go on. 100%. The more you resist, the longer it's going to go on. So 3 things that I think you should do. Number 1, check what you're eating and drinking. Ingesting, end of, all of it. Check what you're ingesting in terms of food and drink, and also information. Don't watch depressing things or dramatic things or listen to the news, like all of that, horrendous. Get that out of your life straight away. Focus on what goes into your body, whether it's in through your mouth, your ears, or anywhere else. Like focus on what's going into your body. Number 2, meditate. Meditate will help you calm your nervous system, get your energy into alignment. You will sleep like a baby. A good baby that sleeps through the night, not like a baby that wakes up every 2 minutes. You will sleep really, really well. So, and sleep determines your energy levels throughout the following day. So you want to maximize that. And the 3rd thing is to understand your own personal vibrational frequency. What do you think? How do you react? What are your thoughts? Remember that you're always on display. We think that we're private people and we don't like to discuss things and we don't like people to know what we're going through. You're always on display because your actions and reactions are occurring in automatic pilot. We think we know ourselves really well, but we only know 5% of ourselves because we're only fully aware of ourselves 5% of the time. We're only having conscious thoughts 5% of the time. That's how much we know ourselves. We know 5% of ourselves. But 100% of us is always on display because how you act and react is always on display for everyone to see. You know when people say to you, oh, you're like this, and you say, I don't think I'm like that at all. And they go, yeah, you definitely are. And then other people will say, yeah, you definitely are. That's because that's what they're seeing. They're seeing the automatic part of you that you don't even show yourself. So it's time for you to become really aware of yourself and to start, with these three things, the food and the drink and the information that you ingest, the meditation and realigning yourself, realigning your energy centers and getting better sleep, and then the intentional self-awareness that affects your vibrational frequency. The combination of these three things will not only help you ride this wave of change much more easily, it's actually going to help you find your purpose. You're going to know what you want to be doing in this next phase of your life. I mean, the world is changing so much, isn't it? So there's never been a better time to do it anyway. So if you're a woman who's in menopause today or perimenopause, because they're different, like perimenopause was much easier than actual menopause for me. But if you're a woman who's of a certain age, going through a change, whether in fact, you don't even need to be going through menopause. If you're just a woman of a certain age who's looking now to enter a new phase of her life, you can just be an empty nester and not be menopausal. Usually those two things go hand in hand. For me, it was different. I had a child late in life and I was still raising my son. So it was hard. Like, it was even harder to try. But without him, I don't think I would have done as well either. So there's good and bad in every situation. There isn't the ideal time to go through this kind of change. There isn't. But if your time is now, there are lots of resources for you. So meditate, check your diet, check what you're ingesting informationally, and start working on your own personal vibrational frequency. And I've got an answer to all of that. Of course I do. But go and look at all of my videos on here, and there'll be stuff there that can help you. But I have spent the last several years developing a methodology to help us understand and become more self-aware so that we can be in the driving seat of our lives and be less reactive. My zone method, it's called Lys's Zone Method. It's a brilliant methodology. It works for absolutely everyone that uses it. Once you've got it, because you can download it, like go and watch my zone method. I give you access to the actual zone chart. You can download it and have it on your phone and become self-aware by yourself. You don't even need to do a course. But if you want to really get to grips with it, I would do the courses. You will accelerate much more quickly if you do what I tell you to do. So I'm going to put several links down here. Number one, if you're suffering from mental health because of menopause or anything else, go and do that course first before you start any of the others. The second course that I highly recommend is the Bulletproof Course. It's on my bio on my social media, but I'll put the link down here. It's an introduction to the work that I do, and it'll explain a little bit more to you about how I work and what you're going to learn from me. So it gives you more understanding of the kind of coach that I am. It helps you to get to know me, as well as giving you all of the tools that you need to be able to become intentionally self-aware and manage your own personal frequency, which is what determines your life. So that's a good course to do. If you're already happy with the kind of coach that I am, because you've managed to gauge that, I would just go straight into the 30-day mastery course, how to master yourself and attain total abundance in 30 days. I'd go straight into that. I'd bypass Bulletproof and go straight into that, because that course is a 30-day course. It sounds intensive, but it isn't. We're talking less than an hour a day for 30 days. What you get out of it is completely life-changing. Go and have a look. Go and have a look at the testimonials. I'll put the link to that as well. I'll also put the link to my Ticket Tailor site, which is where I announce the dates for my virtual live meditations over Zoom. I do one on a Wednesday and one on a Sunday. They're not every Wednesday and every Sunday. You do need to go and check out the dates. I know the next one is coming up now on the 10th of September, but I'll put the link to that site in there. And if you're struggling to sleep and you feel out of sorts, get on one of those meditations as soon as possible. I guarantee it will change your physiology and it will change how you feel. I guarantee it. If you I have to say I can't guarantee it, because if you don't immerse yourself in it, I can't guarantee there's going to be a change. But the whole point of those meditations is that you immerse yourself in them. Honestly, I haven't heard anybody that's done the meditation that didn't get a lot from it. So that's another thing that's going to go in there. What else? If you want any of my charts, you know, I've got 2 charts. I've got a zone chart. This deals with vibrational frequency, and it tells you what zone you're in. If you do this in conjunction with the zone method video, you'll understand what that's about. I also have this, a chakra chart here, which talks about the energy centers of your body. They're slightly different. There's some overlap, but there isn't really. So the energy centers of your body react slightly differently to vibrational frequency itself. So they are 2 separate things, although they are interlinked. You can get those on my website. The link is already in there, I think, lifeforcefield.com. You can get those charts on my website. You know, I do try and give as much as I can. I try and give as much as I can away for free. That's what I try to do with this YouTube site now. It's a new thing for me. It's a new channel. You know, subscribing will really, really help me. Liking my videos will really, really help me. You don't have to do it, but it doesn't cost you anything, and it actually really helps me to keep the channel going. So yeah, they're the things that I would recommend. So if you really want to make a difference now, go and check out the links that I've put in the description of this video. Go and check them out. Go and watch my zone method video and any other videos you want to watch on my channel that you think would help you. My own story, actually, my own journey to awakening is a podcast on this particular channel. So if you check out podcasts, you'll see my journey to awakening. It's an audio. I do it with my husband. He keeps me on track because I go off track quite a lot otherwise. So he's really good at keeping me on track. You know, if you want to hear that story, you'll hear quite a bit about my menopause in there and what a difficult period it was, not just because of the menopause, just because it was the most difficult decade of my life in so many ways. So yeah, like you don't have to resist your menopause. You don't have to suffer either. I did suffer, but you don't have to. And I know how to stop you from suffering. Honestly, I can teach you to ride this wave much more smoothly than I rode it myself. And that's saying something. So yeah, go and check it all out, and I'll see you in the next video.